I'm not entirely sure what I just played. I can tell you it's a point and click game, I can tell you it's called The Preposterous Awesomeness of Everything. Beyond that, it's complicated and weird. Might as well open with the part most people will notice first. This is a supremely weird ass art style. I'm going with what the developer calls it, which is collage style, mostly because it fits and partially because I can't think of a good Picasso joke. If you're worried about the screenshots that show mostly butt-naked people, you needn't be. The game plays through various technological ages of a primitive tribe, and Drake, living on a remote island. All the nudie bits you're seeing in those screenshots are A, pixelated, and B, they barely even constitute Act 1. I wouldn't go playing it on a train or anything, but it's no biggie. The collage art style does persist the entire way through, however. It's not going to be to everyone's taste, certainly, but if you're put off by it, I'd like you to ask yourself why. Do you find it genuinely unpleasant to look at? Fair enough, can't help you there, wouldn't recommend you buy it. What I worry about is that some people will take it to represent a cheap slapdash game thrown together without the due care and attention we expect from such a niche genre, or indeed anything we're expected to pay money for. If I truly thought any of that was true, this video would probably be over already. See, I think this art style actually works. It's unconventional, sure, but it's consistent. From the character animations to the background, it all matches up. A truly slapdash non-effort would have parts that don't mesh or that look out of place, thrown in as quickly as possible to fill a space and then consequently forgotten about. The developer committed to this art style and, in my humble opinion, made it work. Don't get me wrong though, this game is exactly as weird as it looks. Self-referential humour by the bucket load, smileys in the dialogue text, a dangerous lunatic who I always thought looked like PewDiePie, which shows how much attention I was paying to the instruction text because the developer thanked him specifically. Also, there's the menu item called Cat Pops Up, which, well... On top of that, half the music sounds like it's playing backwards, there's a strange verb list, there's the fact that it even has a verb list in 2016. I mean, look at this. Examine, talk to, pick up, use, even consume isn't that far out of place. Then there's disrespect, befuddle, and do a backflip. And I had to use every single one of those verbs at some point, except I couldn't find a place where pray for did anything useful. And I have no further comment on that. As for the puzzles, they're fairly average. Nothing too clever or creative, but they're not moon logic. They make sense and anything you don't get right away will come with a "ah, of course" feeling, as opposed to a "Jesus shit fuck the what" feeling, which between those two choices is the way you want to go. Now, when I said developer, I meant a developer, one guy by the name of Joe Richarsdon. The opening text pretty much admits that this game is the result of him dicking around in the Visioneer engine, notably used for pretty much everything Daedalic Entertainment has ever put out. There's even a request to report any bugs that you find back to him, and if I'd found any, that's exactly what I would have done. The one-man dev team approach does show itself in two other notable ways, however: game length and the lack of voice acting. You add those together and £9 starts to look like a slightly high asking price. Lack of voice acting is pretty self-explanatory, so I'll talk about the game length. I finished this in an evening. Steam tells me it took 103 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that's lowballing it. Nonetheless, we're talking about a maximum of 3 hours to get me from beginning to end. The Shiva took me longer than that, not to mention it cost less. Not the fairest comparison though, it's far older. You'll probably get some extra longevity out of it if you use the daft verbs on everyone you meet, because there's a lot of unique dialogue to be found that way. But you might not find that's worth the extra time. Aside from that, there's a small element of replayability to this game as well, with a few branching paths and a neat twist that I won't spoil because it's literally the end of the game. As silly as the story is, I wouldn't feel right just giving it away. I think the twist is kinda clever though. There's not even that much to the story either. You help influence a primitive tribe to evolve to the point where they can build a space rocket, utilising such nefarious implements as rocks, berries, hivers, gear, jam, petitions, toy rockets, dangerous lunatics, pictures of tits. Hang on, what? It's at this point that the game actually earns the use of the word satirical in its own description. More so than GTA with the funny radio DJs giving all the companies the daft semi-offensive name. You've got things like the old LucasArts Scum interface with daft extraneous verbs thrown in, dealing with horrible project mismanagement and political cronyism, the sheep-like nature of large groups. I mean, one of the interactive objects is called the majority of people. As you might expect, they're fucking idiots, but you still have to sway them. You can also have your character make his own point-and-click game, which starts off with good intentions, but gets turned into a parody by lack of experience. It's all done in a wall of text though, so it's pretty inconsequential. And if that wasn't meta enough for you, there's even the option of a fourth wall-breaking conversation complete with instant game shutdown if you say the wrong thing. In fact, that might be worth pointing out. For something that many might dismiss as a joke game, it gets a number of things right. There's a bunch of bad endings you can get early on, but you can continue from more or less where you left off. And there's those nice wee extra touches I'm so fond of, like double clicking to warp through an exit, and the graphics for the interface upgrading with each passing technological age. I'm still going to point out the lack of keyboard shortcuts though, I'm never letting that one go. I'm in two minds about the lack of voice acting though. On the one hand, it feels cheap, and it meant I had to manually click through every conversation instead of being able to let it play out. On the other hand, it adds to the strange nature of the whole package. You don't miss it all that much. If Mr. Richarsdon was going to put anything in there, I would suggest something like Simlish or the Banjo-Kazooie style noises. If nothing else, the second option is far cheaper, and it would be a shame if he suddenly started taking it all seriously. That said, the game's not without flaws, of course. For example, there's the occasional wall of text to deal with. It's better when it's a smaller amount of text accompanied by a pretty picture and humorous captions. The way I like to put it is as follows. The preposterous awesomeness of everything is as smart as it is dumb, and it's entirely aware of this fact. There's no simple answer as to who this game is going to appeal to. It's not a hardcore puzzle-filled behemoth, nor is it something you have to turn off your brain entirely to enjoy. I would suggest if you want to see something unique, you have the spare cash, and the trailer didn't throw you into convulsions, you might want to pick this up, but I realise it's absolutely not for everyone. Sorry guys, this is one of those times where you have to make up your own mind.